Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome to our Monday, August 4th school board meeting. We will start with our agenda approval, deletions, additions. Dr. Varacco.
Thank you. We do have two revisions to the agenda under Roman numeral 7B1, some additional personnel recommendations. And under 7C1, we are going to table the plan for staff evaluation until a future meeting.
Motion to approve?
Motion from Ms. Kelly,
I'll second.
second from Mrs. Talent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there any correspondence this evening, Ms. Kelly?
There is not, Mrs. Seuss, thank you.
All right, we'll move into our liaison committee updates. Ms. Kelly?
Yes, my committees meet this week and next week, so hopefully at the next meeting I'll have some news for you. Thank you.
Mrs. Talent?
I have nothing to report on the Dyer Redevelopment Committee. I did attend the meeting, and it was a very good one. And we have one coming up also here in August, the Wellness Committee. We will be meeting, as I understand it, the first one will be held here this fall when a meeting can be set up and school gets started. It'll settle down a little bit.
Thank you. Dr. Malco?
Hi, good evening. Lake Central Education Foundation has been very, very active. If you're aware, we had a pickleball tournament at St. John, and we've raised nearly $10,000, which was their goal. And of course, if you remember, those education grants are funded by the Education Foundation, so that's a nice start to a great school year. Also, the Education Foundation will be at the Back to School open houses. Stop by their table so you can see what's coming this upcoming year. Also about the grants, Mrs. Wolf would like for you to know that grant round 63 will come out August 18th, and it'll be due the 29th of September. And the seed grant, which is something new this year. Well, we've done it before, but now they're offering it this year. It's a $5,000 grant to start a new or experimental project. Really a great opportunity. And that grant will come out on the 3rd of November, and it's not due until March 30th. So that gives you plenty of time to prep for that one. And that's what we have to report. And as far as Dyer Parks, it meets next week in legislative. I think that Dr. Varacco will be covering that in his agenda topic. Thank you.
And the only thing I have is Dollars for Scholars. Our first meeting for homecoming is this Thursday, 5:15, hallway B. If you want to be a part of it, come on. So now we'll move into our official school board business topics consent agenda. Dr. Varacco.
Thank you. Seek board approval for the minutes from our regular board meeting on July 14th. Also seek board approval for the claims, payroll, and extracurricular expenditures you received in your packets last week.
So moved.
Motion from Ms. Talent, and I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. So there's no public comments regarding action items. We'll move into our official school board business topics, regular agenda. Dr. Varacco.
Thank you again, Mrs. Seuss. My first item is to seek board approval for a professional leave request. Dr. Malco has indicated that she's able to attend the ISBA IIPSS Fall Conference September 14th to September 16th. At the last board meeting, the three board members up here and myself were approved to attend that meeting, so seek board approval for Janice to join us at that important meeting.
Motion to approve?
Motion from Ms. Kelly. I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. My second item is, it's not the legislative session, but I did want to update the board and the public on a piece regarding SEA 1. As you recall, SEA 1 is the property tax overhaul that has cities, towns, and school districts worried because in the not-too-distant future, our revenue is going to drop significantly due to them changing the formula. In a nutshell, the formula has changed whereby your gross assessed value used to come down by a couple of deductions and lead to a net assessed value. For instance, on a $500,000 home, it would go from $500,000 to about $293,000. Well, with all of the adjustments and the $300 credit on top of it, that $500,000 home in 2031, the tax will be based on a net assessed value of $175,000. So across a district as big as ours, when you see the base figure upon which the tax rate is applied, it is going to have significant impact, not just on school districts, but on cities and towns. Our lobbyist, who works with the Northwest Indiana Superintendent Study Council, is looking to visit with some key legislators regarding SCA 1. Our lobbyist indicated to me and some other members of our group that there are some senators across the state, these are state senators now, who are considering whether or not this legislation may have swung the pendulum too far one way in terms of having too big of an impact. So some ideas that were shared by other people as we weighed in on a group email were that maybe they could look at the caps to the maximum levy and try to tie it to inflation instead of having other figures that they've picked out of the sky or out of what their preference is. Also, some people weighed in that maybe these local option income taxes, like what we have in Lake County, could be shared not only with cities and towns and property owners for property relief, but also be shared with schools. That would be nice, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. What I suggested on this email was that we do the study that I wish we had done before this legislation passed and review state formulas from our neighboring states and maybe even every state in the union to see how our formula compares to them, because our new formula is going to take gross assessed value less 65% of gross assessed value, and that's going to be the figure on which we base the tax. Maybe if we see that we have gone really far to 67%, maybe instead of going all the way to 67% like the plan is for 2031, maybe when we get to 50% or 52 or whatever that number is, we stop so that the pain doesn't continue. And so it'll be interesting to see if that, it's not a budget year this coming session, so it's not likely they would do any changes to it. But at least if some people are talking about it, we're going to weigh in and we're going to suggest that we think that pendulum has swung too far and that the hit to cities, towns, and school districts is too severe. And I'll say it again, I said to our legislators during the last session, I think property tax relief is a worthy pursuit, but I do think reductions need to be balanced against public services. People in our communities have grown accustomed to having roads without potholes, to having bridges where both lanes are functioning all the time, and to having school systems that help children of all ability reach their maximum potential. For all of us to do those kinds of things, we need ample resources. So that's my update for this evening, and I'll keep you posted if I hear any follow-up. It's not likely it'll get going again until everybody gets in school and we get to September.
Thank you. And our Assistant Superintendent, Mrs. Castaneda.
Yes, my first item is to seek the board's approval for the personnel recommendations, the revised copy that you received this evening.
Move for approval?
Motion from Dr. Malko,
I'll second.
second from Ms. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
And I'd just like to point out that we had our first day of new teacher orientation today with a wonderful group of teachers. And if you look at the agenda for personnel, we have several rehires of staff members who were in positions with us last year, and we're thankful that they're coming back again this year for other positions. And actually, one of them, Justin Schranz, I believe he got a scholarship, Mrs. Talent, from which organization?
Yes, that was really pretty exciting. He was making a transition from a different career into teaching and received a scholarship from the NFF, which is the Indiana Public School Foundations organization, and along with American Colleges. So we were really excited since Lake Central Education Foundation is a part of that.
Yes, which is wonderful. For my second item, I'm seeking the board's approval for the professional leave request.
So moved.
Motion from Ms. Talent, and I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And then for my last item, I'm going to invite up Erin Novak, principal of Lake Central High School. She's going to give the board an update on their AI guidelines, as well as some exciting news regarding their SAT scores.
Are we going to go down or? I'm going to go down.
So for the AI guidelines, you have two pieces of paper at your station. One says AI policy for LCHS, and the other is a color-coded chart. And then for the SAT data, she's going to have a presentation.
Well, now I don't know where to look. Okay, so we'll start with the AI policy, and this kind of came to fruition over the last couple of years. Especially, I'm a former English teacher myself. From our English department, they're seeing a definite uptick in the use of AI. So at the end of the school year, that's where we really saw a lot of students starting to use AI and some of the bigger projects towards the end of the school year, the big papers that are at the end of the school year or the end of the semester. So we've been working on this with all of our department heads, our administration team with our department heads, and just trying to come up with a plan that's going to be feasible for everybody. And we always want something that's going to be educational for our students, help them learn, help them grow, but yet there's got to be a little bit of teeth to it to, prevent them from trying to do this. So obviously AI has grown over the years. It's continuing to grow, it's continuing to evolve. So with our policy, we're always going to be looking at this and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and how we can change it or adjust it for years to come as well. So basically, let me start with this. This chart, well, it's nice and colorful. We wanted to give students a visual of something that they can see very easily, what's allowed, because there's many courses here that use AI for their benefit, and it's a great tool. Some of our engineering classes, they can use that. It's very beneficial to those courses. So we don't want to just put a blanket statement out there saying, no AI, it's bad, because it does have many benefits. However, in some of those courses where they're writing essays and developing, we want them using their brain. We don't want them just going to ChatGPT. That's probably the number one use of AI. So we wanted to create a visual. We did not create this. One of our teachers has found this and found it to be pretty insightful and helpful in speaking with students, just showing them, okay, this assignment, it's acceptable to use it. So it's a number 4, it's full green. You've got the green light to use it. Teachers okay, teachers showing them how to use it. And then it just gets tailored down all the way to the red, which is a 0, not applicable, not to be used in that class. So I think our English classes are definitely going to fall in that red category because, again, we want our students using their brain, using their thoughts, using their skills to create those projects. So that's the visual that we kind of base some things on. This kind of goes hand in hand with our plagiarism policy. And plagiarism and AI, they're very closely related. ultimately, everything falls under academic dishonesty. You're not being honest in your work, you're using somebody else's work, you're not giving credit to it. So ultimately, we have rules in place for academic dishonesty, but we've seen such a growth in AI that we wanted to make something that's specific to AI. So with our plagiarism policy, it's punitive and it grows with each year. So we understand as freshmen coming in, they may not have written heavily documented papers. So as they grow, we have higher expectations. So we have different expectations, different consequences for a freshman that would use plagiarism versus a senior. Does that make sense? So this AI policy is very similar in that sense. So we want them to learn, we want them to grow. We don't just want to slap a 0 on something and you get an F for the course we don't want that to happen. We want them to be able to learn from their mistakes, grow from it. And again, there's going to be different expectations based on, are they a freshman? Is this the first time they're, being accused of using AI? Are they a senior? Are they in a dual credit course? Dual credit courses are always going to be held to that university's expectations as well. So there's a lot of little moving pieces in these policies. So when we write them, we want them to be as fair as possible. So the nuts and bolts of it, we broke it down to minor violations. A minor violation is defined as 30 to 49% of an assignment flagged as AI generated, and then substantial would be 50% or more. So how are they determining those percentages? We do use Turnitin.com at Lake Central High School. All teachers, all courses have access to this, and it does run their assignments, their work through an AI detector. Turnitin.com. And we've used it for many years. Back in the day, kids would go to a website, copy and paste, and put that into their paper. But now they have these sophisticated programs where they can even tell it to write a paper at a 10th grade level, misspell 30 words. It's pretty sophisticated with what it can do. So Turnitin.com is very beneficial because it will sift through all of it and tell the teacher, hey, this is X amount of AI or plagiarism. It doesn't determine the grade, no. So the teacher can say, and speaking as a former English teacher, if I saw that somebody's paper was plagiarized 50%, then I'm going to go and do a little bit more detective work myself. I might talk with that student, see what's going on. It's not always black and white. That's where this stuff is so fun, to kind of sift through and figure out what's going on. So anything that's a first offense for 9th and 10th graders, minor violations, students will receive a warning and an opportunity to resubmit their work after correcting the issue, and then they get a 10% reduction to the final grade on their resubmitted essay. But, again, the point is that they learn from this. It'd be really easy just to say, oh, you cheated, you get a 0, let's move on. But this is supposed to help them correct it. And then 11th and 12th grade, again, higher expectations for minor violations. Students receive the warning and the opportunity to resubmit the work, but they also receive that 30% reduction. So it's got a little bit more teeth to it. We talk about this all the time at school, especially the English teachers. Plagiarism, academic dishonesty, it's not the first time they're hearing this. This is something that they're pretty familiar with. So if they do make a bad decision and use AI to write a paper, depending on the severity of it, they do have the opportunity to redeem themselves, which I think is the most important thing. Again, our 12th graders that take courses through dual credit, our biggest partnership is with Purdue Northwest. they would be held to their expectations as well. And we're seeing those expectations kind of changing year to year as well as AI develops. Questions so far? And then it just gets a little bit more progressive if it's not their first time in that course or in that class. There's going to be more severe consequences. Any questions on that?
I'm just amazed that it can determine that it was an AI-written document.
There's a lot of good computer programmers out there that I think can do that. But these are conversations we have with students. We bring all the students down at the beginning of the school year. We meet with all the freshmen one day. We meet with all the sophomores, juniors, seniors, and we talk about these things. We make sure they're well aware of it. And our teachers do a great job reiterating that in their classes as well.
Thank you.
All right, and now for the fun SAT. Mr. James, if you can help me out. Thanks. Okay, so back in, I want to say late April, early May, we received our schools SAT data, and we were able to see that Lake Central High School had a 7% growth, which was awesome, amazing. It was good stuff. But then we also talked about, well, we want to see how we did compared to everybody else. So that is what I have prepared for you this evening. So we're first going to start with our math scores, and I get goosebumps when I say it. So looking at this graphic, this first graphic is Lake Central High School compared to Lake County public high schools. I tried to pick out all the major towns in Lake County and compare us. And if you can see, this is specifically math. The number one school in the area, Lake Central High School. So we came in at 52.8% proficiency in our math SAT scores. One of the things that we always do, we're a Duneland Athletic Conference school. We always compare ourselves to the DAC schools. So this is Lake Central compared to Crown Point, Maryville, LaPorte, Michigan City, Portage, Valpo, Chesterton. And again, comparing us to our DAC schools, we are above everybody else. And this is just math. So a couple key takeaways. Going back to that first graphic, if you can picture that, that's the first time Lake Central High School has surpassed Munster in SAT math proficiency, and the proficiency score is 530. So this is the first time that we have surpassed their scores. So there was a 6% difference, Lake Central 52.8%, and Munster 46.6%. So, when we first received those scores, we're like, oh, these are great scores, but we really want to see how we did. We always compare ourselves to Munster, Crown Point, Valpo, Chesterton, and it was amazing to see that we surpassed that.
Did you do a comparison to the state average?
Yeah, we're getting to that. So a couple more takeaways. Lake Central High School outscored all public high schools in both Lake and Porter counties in math. And Lake Central saw a growth of 7% from 2024-25 and a 7% growth from 23-24 for a total of 14% growth in just a 2-year time span. So I am happy to stand here and share these things, but it's really the teachers, the students that are doing all of that work. Our math teachers, our math department have done amazing things the last couple of years. We have an incredibly strong Algebra 1 team of teachers that have completely turned around the way that they approach instruction in the classroom. And Val Gardner, our math department head, has worked very closely with them, and they've just done an incredible thing. So, that team's been together for about 3 to 4 years, a really solid Algebra 1 team. And I think that's why we are seeing such growth all of a sudden. All right, so our reading and writing scores. Again, this is very similar to that first graphic. Lake Central is coming in just behind Munster with reading. So outside of that, we are number 2, and we are not far behind, and we are coming for them. That is going to be the goal. I did. But I've been affiliated with Lake Central much longer than... and then again, comparing us to our Duneland Athletic Conference schools, we are number 1. So we're doing very good. We always compare ourselves to the Duneland schools because those are some of the bigger schools. Even some of these smaller schools going back, in Lake County, some of those schools are, I know Griffith is pretty small, Edison's pretty small, but I did want to take our county and look at us. But you do see some of the larger high schools equivalent to our size in the DAC, so that's why it's also important to branch out and compare us to them. So some takeaways from the English. Lake Central outperformed all schools in the DAC. We had a 73.9% of our students meeting proficiency. That score is 480, and that's also a 7% growth. So we're doing outstanding. It was just incredible when we looked at our math scores to see that we were number 1, and our area was just outstanding. So Washington Township, it's a middle/high school. They did outscore us by just a few percent, but we typically don't compare ourselves to them. Their total population is 455 students, and that's grades 6 through 12. So, I mean, they did a great job. Kudos to them, but we just typically don't choose that as a comparison. So combining math and English scores, looking at pass rates. This is a 2-year look. If you look at Lake Central, the darker blue is the most recent, so we have grown. You can see Munster has gone down a little, Crown Point grew a little, Chesterton grew a little, Valpo went down a little. So, yes, and that's 2023, 24, and then the last year. So when you look at Lake Central scores, you're always seeing growth, which is important. And then, Dr. Malkow, this is what you asked about compared to the state. So Lake Central is the light blue column, and then the state is the dark blue, and global testers are the orange, worldwide. So you can see we are heads and shoulders above the state and our global testers.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay.
No, at Lake Central, you test all students on SAT?
Yes.
Do all the other schools in the state of Indiana?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's a requirement.
Yes. Yep.
Just clarify. Thank you.
Which, I mean, it's good data because it's a pretty consistent test. You know, it's the same test that's being given across the world, whereas the I-STEP that was tailored just to Indiana was just an Indiana test, whereas SAT is more on a global level, so it's more accurate data in order to compare ourselves.
It would sure be nice if you would have an opportunity to share this with our legislators, our representatives. Maybe we could arrange that for you.
Sure, I'll go. Let's see. I think that's it. I think that was my last slide. So again, we're very proud of our growth. Kudos to our teachers. Again, you know, I'm happy to stand here and share this data on behalf of everybody, but they definitely deserve all the applause, and we're going to celebrate on the first Teacher Day. Yeah.
That's great.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. Last year, we had some of our kindergarten teachers come and present to the board. They had attended a conference called Elevate. And this year, we had a few more teachers go. So earlier this summer, Julie and Stephanie and Amanda and Melissa and Justine and Kim all went to the Elevate conference, and they are here to present to you. But before they come down, I want them to know I want one of those jackets. I wear a medium. Okay, come on down.
Thank you.
Our clicker, by the way, yes, that is how old I am. Stephanie Trupeck right here, I had in kindergarten. And I have the biggest mouth, so I'm going to start us off. So, yes, and that. So we cannot thank Dr. Bracy and the board for sending us. Not only was it about a 6 to 6.5 hour car ride, which we got to bond not only with our kindergarten team, but we also got to bond with our first grade team, which is amazing because they get our babies who we've loved all year long. And we got to share our ideas, and we got to talk about areas where we think that they're going to go in really strong, and areas that we are concerned about, and we all got our heads together and we shared some ideas that we can make a smoother transition and stuff. And that was very powerful. So Dr. Veracco, if you ever want to go with us next year, we can solve all Lake Central's problems in that car or flight and stuff. We'll get to it in a minute. You'll wait till you see. So this time it was in Minneapolis, and it was, the one thing is so nice. You meet teachers from all over the United States and also different countries. So like we even have pen pals that we're going to start doing and from Minneapolis and different areas and that to share ideas with, and our kids are going to write to them and stuff. So it is very powerful. So we're going to click. Thanks, Steph. Don't make me dance. So what is Elevate? Elevate is an amazing conference which is all research-based. So each of the presenters have to be, all their presentation has to have research behind it. Another thing about it is you can reach out to these presenters afterwards. You can share, they'll share ideas. I've already reached out to several of them and that. You can pick any subject that you want. If you feel like a lot of the conference you go to, you're sort of stuck. Like, okay, we're going to learn about phonemic awareness. Everyone's going to learn about that. This is not that way. You pick if you want to do SEL, if you want to do math, if you want to do reading, and it is jam-packed. You do about 6 classes a day, and it's just wonderful. And then we all got to share ideas. Some of the classes we went together with, and some of the classes we decided to separate and see, but it was all interest-based. And that whatever we felt like we might need a little bit of help with, that's what we picked and stuff, or we were interested in. Click. And we're just gonna all jump in.
Okay. One of the really cool things is that at the beginning of each day, they start us with a really powerful and inspirational keynote speaker. And it's really awesome because it's people who are in the classrooms and administrators who are working with their teachers every day, and they're in the thick of it, just like we are. So I feel like we can really relate to them. So on day 1, we got to meet the awesome Jack Hartman, which if you're a kindergarten teacher, you probably know who he is. If not, you might. Or first grade, yes, primary. Yep, if you know, you know. But yeah, every kindergartner, every 5-year-old probably knows who Jack Hartman is. So it was really cool. So we got to meet him on our very first day.
And there were tons of freebies too that we got.
Yes.
Binders and Post-it notes, and also by going to this conference, we were allowed access to a virtual conference.
Yes.
And that, so we also have until the end of September, beginning of October, we can do 26 virtual extra sessions, which is amazing too.
Yeah, if there's something that comes up that we want, we can go on, find it, and like Kim said, reach out to those speakers. They're very accessible. We get their personal emails to just reach back and forth about their ideas, things like that, which is, you don't get that all the time. So on the second day, we learned a really cool story, had a really cool speaker. His name was Jonathan Hines. He was an international professional basketball player. And he decided basketball wasn't for him anymore, and he came back to his hometown. And the only job, his mother told him to go out and get a job, and he started as a preschool paraprofessional, eventually became a preschool teacher, and he was teaching us all about relationships, how even just one relationship can be life-changing for every student, even just one little situational thing. Getting involved in your students' lives, creating those relationships in different ways, going to their games, everybody's situations are different, but doing what you can to create those really important relationships and trust. So.
He became the first African-American kindergarten teacher of the year in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
His story touched me so much, only because he had a horrible elementary experience. But by the time he got to middle school, he had the reputation of like a bad student. But there was a coach there who sat down
Inspired
and
him.
talked to him, inspired him, and got him to change completely. And I thought, wow, what a story! And to become this famous now for education and stuff, he really
Yeah.
touched me. Super
Yeah.
awesome.
The next day, our keynote speaker was Jerry Brooks. He is a very funny and inspirational administrator. I'm sure many of you guys know him, but he had us laughing the whole time. But just so practical and so real, and all the things that we go through. I mean, he touched on, which is pretty amazing, and just how we are in control of the climate at our school. So like, yes, being teachers, being educators, but also like our climate at school and what we make of it and how we utilize each other and the climate we create there. And
Really a principal. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yes, oh, no.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. Last year when we went, one of his big things is, he gives his staff different things every year. So one was a pacifier, and I actually put a little pacifier pin on my lanyard last year to remember that every kid is
someone's baby, yeah.
And that is extremely important, that you have to remember that every kid is somebody's baby and stuff, and we have a little surprise for you guys at the end with it, but I mean, just like his sayings, just because I have the right to say it doesn't mean it's the right thing to always say and stuff, and he's just really powerful.
Yeah, he
And
is.
repeated mistakes are called choices, and it was just really inspirational.
Yeah, absolutely. On the next slide, it shows all the different things that we attended as a group. Like Kim said, some we did together, some we did separate. We each got to really form our own path on things we wanted to work on, learn about, as teachers, find our strengths and things maybe we felt like we needed to work on. We could find something to tailor to that. While we were there,
They give back to St. Jude. St. Jude is their St. Jude is their, yeah, Dr. Bracy goes, just hand her to her. She's going to take it anyways, seriously. They give back to St. Jude. That was a big partnership that they did. And so they have a big tricycle, fundraiser. And I thought, well, we are big at Riley's. Wouldn't that be fun to have Dr. Veraco on a tricycle? So I thought, well, maybe we're going to try to bring that back to Watson and do a fundraiser using tricycles and that to try to up our fundraising money and stuff. So yeah, and stuff. So we thought, that would be a really cool way to and these two could fit on the tricycle. So that was really good. Yes, and the kids ride the tricycles and the staff ride the tricycles and stuff and that. And this one was the closing remarks, and this was it's always tugs at your heart, but it talks about how our classrooms are messy and chaotic, but we're all like MacGyvers. We can do anything when we want to. Another thing it says is, unfortunately, public education is being scrutinized all the time. And I think Lake Central, and Sarah, this is kudos to you. You guys, with your Lake Central Facebook page and Parent Square that you guys started, I think it's a great way to get what our kids are doing out, great things that our kids are doing, and great things that our staff are doing out there to the public. And one thing that Greg had said is, get that out there. Drown out the negative with the positive that the kids and the teachers are doing, and that try to post as much as we can. And I thought automatically about you, Sarah, with that Facebook page and how great it is she's like, oh, Gala just sending another video and that, but anyways, how and that and stuff, but And another thing is that they went over like the different drawers that we have. And one was the planning drawer, and it's how everything is wonderful, and like we're already getting together to we were talking about planning our year out until we have a fire drill. And then it gets all messy, or a kid starts to think he eats dirt instead of he eats dirt thinking it's Oreos, or we find underwear in the corner and can't figure out whose underwear it is, and like, oh my God, there's underwear. Who would be taking their underwear off in the kindergarten classroom? Who knows? And then the next drawer was the emotional drawer and stuff, and that's the drawer that, tugs at our heartstrings, and those are the kids, that we have to give a lot to, and those are the ones that we see such gains with and stuff, and and it's the heavy lifting that staff, and it's not just teachers, it's the whole staff has to do. And then there's that empty drawer that he talked about, when you can't even get out of your car some days, and you don't think there's anything left, and how as colleagues, we need to, and I think Watson, no offense, does a great job of this, and pick each other up, and help each other and stuff, and tell each other what a great job you're doing. And our admin, how important it is when you guys do a great job sending notes to us and saying, hey, you're doing a great job on that and stuff. And then the magic drawer, it's filled with bubbles and stickers and costumes and wigs and stuff, just as children need to celebrate their successes, so do teachers, and that's important. Even like Julie, when she gets her attendance in on time, we celebrate that and stuff. No, I just use that. It's a joke. No, Julie does. It's more like me that you have a problem with. And then the last drawer is the enough drawer. You are enough. And he reminds us that our drawers are our story, and the world needs what is inside of us, and we're all magical and stuff, and we need each other and that. So that was really everybody was crying at the end and stuff and that. Okay, so Julie?
I'm next. Okay, so one of the presenters that I really enjoyed meeting last year and seeing again this year, her name is Holly Ely. She's actually from Indiana, and she is the Reading Science Program Specialist at Huntington University. She's a professor there, and this year she's taught primary before. She is going back into the classroom along with continuing with Huntington University. She really missed the kids, so she'll be doing both. But one of her classes this year was about her approach to writing instruction. She's done a lot of research on it. And of course, we've been talking about science of reading, so now we're shifting to learning more about the science of writing. And for a long time, the writer's workshop was the way to go, but now we've learned that that model was developed for experienced adult writers and not for children as young as 5 years old. So this evidence-based writing practice that we're beginning to do with not the reading rope, but the writing rope, is explicit, systematic, and strategic. It focuses on bursts of instruction to captivate and engage students. It leverages techniques that are collaborative, and the teacher is controlling the pen, which I thought was really interesting, because for a long time it was put the paper in front of the students and now write. And they couldn't. They didn't know how. They were frustrated. So I love how we're moving and shifting to us guiding them. And she said it really reduces the cognitive overload and empowers students to focus on writing composition essentials instead of actually them putting the pencil to the paper, especially in the primary grades. So she talked about guiding students, especially in the primary grades, through the whole process in a week, through 4 steps: think, plan, write, revise, each on a different day for those short bursts of time. And something that the writer's workshop really didn't take into account was motivation and self-regulation with writing. And that is a big part of it, because students really get frustrated. So we really need to pay attention to that and focus in on that when students are writing, and not have that expectation that they're just going to be able to sit down and do it all by themselves. And then she talked about the formula for the science of writing, which is the foundational writing skills that we need to teach times the composition skills, which then will equal skilled written expression. So I know I'm excited about this shift that we're taking with writing. As excited as I was with the shift with reading, and I know a lot of us were not really taught how to teach writing when we were in school as, becoming educators. And so I'm very excited that we're going to be learning more this year at Lake Central. And Holly's fantastic, and she's really been helping a lot of educators with these shifts. Ely, it's the EHLE, but it's Holly Ely. So, all right. Oh,
One of the sessions, that I attended that I thought was really neat, it was called 7 Tips to Wiggle While You Work. The presenter's name was Katie Knight, and she's actually a first grade teacher. I really enjoyed her because she came with a lot of excitement. She even dressed to the part, kind of reminds me of Miss Yelledge here. And she just got me excited to come back. It was like very rejuvenating. Her energy was just great. She had listed 7 strategies, and the one that stood out to me the most, I'm just going to touch on one, was called Get Them Moving. That was the strategy. And then her example was a gallery walk. So kind of going along with what Julie said, it's about writing. The kids who are struggling to come up with the topic, she said, have everyone stop and just walk around. And in kindergarten, they don't do much writing, but they do drawing. So if they're stuck on a topic, like even what's your favorite place, they do struggle with it. They can't decide, they're indecisive. So they look at a friend's work, and then they get an idea, go back to their seat, and start drawing. So I thought that was a really great idea to use in my classroom that I'm excited to use this year.
And this is Jake. I have my nephew's Jake, and I said this is my second favorite Jake, in that he's amazing. If you ever get a chance to meet him, in that he is great on teaching you phonics and phonemic awareness and attention getters for kids, and he's just wonderful. But we're going to keep going. So this one, a couple of us attended this one. It's just a bunch of math games and math ideas. But in the corner, I have Lisa Alessandri, our math coach, and her daughter. We taught a little Jumpstart kindergarten, and I used those ideas already in our Jumpstart class, and I videotaped her daughter and her doing them. So I will have them ready to go out, not only to Brittany, who wasn't able to attend, but also I'm going to send them to Dr. Bracey, or Lisa's going to share them, and that, so that other kindergarten teachers who were not able to attend can use those math videos and stuff. So, I guess I'll just keep going. What we won. You win this and you win this. Well, let's see. Stephanie won an ABC boot camp that retailed at $110. Melissa won a $10 gift card at the TKS store, which was pretty cool. And Amanda won
The conference ticket for next year.
which was pretty cool. And then in the evening, we got to see the Commissioner's Cup and watch the Indiana Fever game. Of course, we were in the nosebleed seats, but that's all right, and that. But it was fun. And then we can't thank Dr. Bracey and our school board enough for allowing us the opportunity. We are hoping that maybe we could go again next year and share some more ideas and stuff. It's in Las Vegas, so if anybody wants to go with us, we are allowing you to, and that. But it's going to be pretty cool in that. So, this is Melissa Lopez, first grade. Julie Walker, she's in kindergarten. Kim Yelledge, okay. Amanda Merzen, she's in kindergarten. Stephanie Trupek, who I had in kindergarten. Yeah. Oh, really? He's right. Yeah, look at her eyebrows going, oh, yes, Miss Yelledge is that old. And this is Justine Cash, who teaches first grade. And that. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We have something for all of you guys and stuff. I don't know how to leave this here.
So Mrs. Schuneman and I would like to share some excellent news with you all. We have received the most latest iLearn scores from the state of Indiana, and she is going to share with you how much we have grown in grades 3 through 8.
Thank you. So on the agenda, this is Dr. Bracey's number 3 and then my number 1. So we're kind of sharing our item here because the way the state shares the district results, it's the 3 to 8 combined, so elementary and middle school. So as you can see, our math 3 to 8, we're at 54.6% proficiency, which is up from 49.9 last year. So we look for growth. In math, this kind of growth is a welcome growth. We're seeing pre-pandemic math scores and are just thrilled by that. The teachers at all levels, and of course Erin shared with the SAT, just working so hard. And even though we talk about the scores and we want to be on that podium and we want to be in the number 1 spot on that podium, it's about student learning. And so this is demonstrating our kids are growing in math. We attribute a lot of that to the curriculum that we're utilizing. So from K to 12, we're using Reveal Math, which is the first time that we've been the same for something. And Val Gardner, high school math coach, swears by it for our SAT growth as well. Of course, that's one piece. It's how you implement it and how you teach it and how the teachers are meeting the kids where they are and just really focusing on that student learning. And you can see the state is 42.1% for math 3 to 8, and so we like to say there's nothing average about Lake Central, and so we want to distance ourselves from the state average as much as possible. So we like where that math score is headed, and we're going to keep on climbing. English 3 to 8, English language arts, we did dip down a little bit from last year where we were at 54.3 and now we're at 52.4. Still well above the state, which was 40.6. And as you know, elementary started utilizing open court science of reading last year. 5th grade at the middle starts it this year, so they'll match elementary. And we've had committees of teachers working through the summer, learning the material, planning, practicing, all of the different pieces because it's different in many ways, the science of reading. And so 6th to 8th grade is also starting a new curriculum, and they have adopted Amplify ELA, which we have shared previously. And actually, kindergarten and 1st grade, when you shared about the writing, and I wrote it down here, the Think, Plan, Write, Revise, I've been studying the Amplify lessons, and it's exactly that, which is great. So what our 6th to 8th grade students are going to be doing almost daily is the same thing that you're doing. I mean, just that alignment. And so with Amplify ELA, one of the slogans that they have is if you have time to grade everything, if you have time to grade all of the writing, your kids aren't writing enough. There is a lot of writing in Amplify ELA, but it's all think, then the plan, and then the writing, it's 10 to 12 minute increments of writing so that kids start to just build that stamina and kind of have that time to really get their thoughts down. And then the revision piece as well. So all of that to say, this score will go up. We've got that new implementation, elementary, we're following an elementary step, so we're excited to utilize those strategies and see what the kids can do with them. We really want to turn out critical readers. The combined 3 to 8 score, you can see it's 41.8%, and those are the kids who passed both math and ELA. And so we are up there, we're looking for growth all the time and above the state still with that one. So just wanted to share the elementary and middle combined scores with you. I'm really proud of all of the hard work from our teachers and our kids across the board. Just a lot to celebrate here.
All right. And then you have two more items.
Yes, thank you. For my second item, I am seeking the board's approval for the professional leave requests included in your board packet.
Motion to approve. Motion for Ms. Kelly, and I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. And for my third item, I'm seeking the board's approval for the field trip requests also included in your packet.
Move for approval.
Motion from Dr. Malco,
I'll second.
second from Mrs. Talent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And now our Director of Student Services, Mrs. Gramala.
Thank you. So I am happy to share that we are ready to install 3 more of our playground communication boards, and those are going to be going to Watson, Bibbich, and Homan. And we have a partnership with Emberly Smiles, and they create the boards for us. And we have some representatives from Emberly Smiles here tonight, and I think Amy is going to just come up. You can come up and use this microphone and share just some information about Emberly Smiles. Is it on?
Hello.
There you go.
Good evening. My name is Amy, and I'm excited to share this with you all today. I'm sure everyone in this room has been impacted by someone who has special needs. I sure have, and it happens to be this sweet little girl, Emberly, on the board here. I'm honored to be here today to share the mission of Emberly Smiles. It's a nonprofit organization that's very close to my heart. My dear friend Rachel, her daughter is Emberly, and she passed in 2020. This nonprofit's mission is to make a world a better, more inclusive space. And we specifically help these children by helping them to access playgrounds so that they can play with their friends and their family more easily. This foundation is inspired by Emberly and her youngest daughter, and she died of Rett syndrome. It's a syndrome that stops your ability to walk and talk, but her mind was brilliant and bright, and she loved to play with her friends. She had so many friends at school. These boards could have helped her communicate with her friends more easily while she was there at school. She did use a Tobii device, which this mimics her Tobii device, so children know these devices in these pictures, and they use these at school already. We have special needs teachers and paras and speech pathologists on our board that help bring these to life. We have pictures from the school playground, so you can see here they recognize these structures from the playground, and they can point and communicate with their friends and teachers on what they want to do next. On the back of these boards, you can see we have a sensory board, and so we have the trace and breathe and hold, breathe in, breathe out in case a child needs to have a sensory time in the park. So that's how Emberly Smiles was born, and the idea was simple, just to raise money and awareness for special needs children in our community, and make sure that they had the resources to make their lives a better place. So thank you, Lake Central, for your time and support and your willingness to help make this dream a reality, and thank you for working together to make every child, regardless of their abilities, where they can play with their friends.
Thank you so much. So I actually shared with Rachel this year when I turned in the invoice to Kathy Phipps, who is my assistant. Kathy was the secretary at the Crown Point Preschool when Emberly was a student there, and she looked down at the piece of paper and said, "Oh my goodness, that's Emberly," and she remembered Emberly and the family, so her spirit is living on, and Kathy had really nice memories of Emberly as a student and working with her there. So yeah, she's now officially part of our Lake Central family too. So this will make 4 communication boards for us at the elementary schools, and so now all of our schools that have an applied skills program now have a communication board, and certainly open to considering more in the future. And I have a nice bag of screws here to hand over to Mr. Ledger, and we will get these, the posts are in, so we will get everything installed before school starts. So we'll be ready to go. Thank you so much.
All right, and now our Director of Business Services, Mr. James.
Thank you. I only have one item on the agenda today, and it's to seek your approval for the donation that was included in your board packet.
So moved.
Motion from Dr. Malco, and I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And there are no public comments, so we'll move right into our board comments and consideration of future agenda items. Ms. Kelly?
Yes, I just want to wish everybody, our teachers, our staff, our students, our families, a great first day back next week. Good luck.
Thank you. Ms. Talent?
I would just say ditto to that. Ms. Kelly, thank you so much, and thank you for all the wonderful reports. Amazing, just absolutely amazing.
Dr. Malco?
Wow, I tell you what, there's nothing better than hearing energy in the room and in the building. So thank you for coming tonight and sharing that. So much to celebrate. We're in a great place, and thanks for your commitment. The floors are shiny and sparkly, and the building smells good. So wish you all a great school year, and thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for the energy you bring to us. We need that energy.
Absolutely. And I ditto all of that. So with that, we'll turn it over to Dr. Veraco for board calendar of future activities.
All right, well, we will be back here on Monday, August 18th for our next public meeting. That's all, thank you.
We have a motion from Dr. Malco. I will second that. We are adjourned.